A very good morning to everyone. Today, the session for discussion is about incident management. I welcome you all to the masterclass series. So, we are going to discuss about how we can build a highly responsive service desk with Service Desk Plus. So, I hope everyone can hear me very clearly. If my audio is not so clear, please let me know so that I can correct it. All right. So, if you have any issues with the audio, please let us know so that we can fix it. So without any delay, we can dive into the presentation. So my name is Prem Maheshwaran. I'm a Service Desk Plus product specialist, and I've been with ManageEngine for more than 8 years now. So I have been doing implementations and trainings for Service Desk Plus customers around the world. All right. So before we go into the discussion, I'd like to inform you about how you can use the GoToWebinar. To ask a question to us, go to the question section in the GoToWebinar control panel. If you'd like to initiate a chat with us, go to the chat section and you can key in your text. All the questions will be answered at the end of this presentation. And also, I would like to give you an update on the schedule of the masterclass series. So, May 30th, today we are speaking about building a highly responsive service desk. And the next session for the cloud version will be on the 13th of June. And the session is on hardware asset management and how you can bring all your assets under one roof. All the sessions will be recorded. The slide deck and the recording will be mailed to all the registrants in a couple of days after this session. All right, let's take a look at the agenda for discussion today. So today we are going to see about a crisis situation and how you can handle a crisis situation with Service Desk Plus. All right, so in due course, we'll also discuss about the challenges and the needs for IT team to tackle a situation like this. And the end of the presentation, we'll have a question and answer session. So where you can ask questions to us and we'll answer that gladly for you. All right. So how many of you guys have heard about the Specter vulnerability? Right. So it's a hardware level vulnerability which was revealed last year. In the beginning of the last year, it was revealed and it has affected almost every computer in the world. So it's an issue with the architecture of modern day processors like Intel, AMD, and mobile processors. And this glitch in the architecture lets hackers steal the information from volatile memory through browsers. So, in order to fix this issue, there were multiple patches released for the hardware. There were BIOS updates released by manufacturers. There were operating system updates released by OS manufacturers, and also browser updates were released. So this kind of an issue requires accessing all the modules of Service Desk Plus. You may have to consume information from the assets module to know what type of assets you have. You may have to figure out what are the critical assets. You may also have to know the different types of operating system that are being used so that you can create a report and then go with patching the operating systems. And also you may have to figure out the older browsers that are running in computers. You may have to ask the users to upgrade the browser, or otherwise your IT team has to schedule an upgrade on the browsers. So this is a classic crisis issue where you may have to do a lot of things in order to resolve this particular problem. All right, so some of the challenges in managing the incidents. So first thing is communication. So communication is the key strategy for any crisis situation, and we need to know how we can communicate with our IT team as well as the business users. So delayed notifications will trigger a lot of incoming emails and phone calls about this known issue, and that will be a huge pile of requests that you have to work with, and you may have to dedicate all your human resource to focus on that. Secondly, slow to respond. So when you have too much issues, you'll not be able to respond to all of it at once, and you may have to schedule it slowly, and that will also cause stretch resolution times. So you'll not be able to meet your SLAs. And finally, there is one more problem. Most of the times, once we find out a solution or a workaround, we don't initiate a root cause analysis. So root cause analysis is very, very important so that we can narrow down to the core of the issue and we can prevent it from happening in the future. So we may have to take corrective actions as well as preventive actions. All right. So in any IT service desk solution, some of the things that we expect are notifying the teams ASAP. All right. So as soon as a crisis situation originates or is reported, you may have to alert your team. You may have to notify your internal teams as soon as possible. So once you do that, everyone will be on standby, and then you can assemble an incident response team. So a critical incident response team can be assembled, and you can work your strategy and then deploy the strategy to tackle the situation. So that is the first thing. So we should not be blindly hitting the issue. Instead, we may have to come up with a strategy on how you can take it down. You have to dedicate certain resources to work on the incoming volume. You may have to dedicate certain resources to work on the analysis, checking the points of failures. You may have to dedicate some resources to go on the internet, do some research, and figure out if there is any possible solution. And you may have to dedicate some engineers to contact your manufacturers and vendors to check if there is any OEM patches available to fix this situation. So in case of Specter vulnerability, you may have to speak with different computer manufacturers and check if there is a BIOS upgrade available to patch the hardware first. And then you may have to contact different operating system manufacturers like Microsoft and ask them if there is a KB article already available, a patch already available to handle the situation. And also you may have to check the browser manufacturers and if they have released upgrades to take care of the situation. So you may have to delegate the work to different people, and that will be the key strategy again. All right. Once it is there, once you already have assembled the team, the next step to do is inform end users of the outage. So announcing the information to the end users is also very important, all right, because they'll be continuously calling us or sending us email, and we do not want that. So since this is a known issue and it's a widespread issue, and the IT team has already started working on it, we should also bring the incoming volume under control by keeping the communication transparent, right? And prioritizing the restoration. So there are a variety of computers available in any ecosystem. You've got laptops, desktops, servers, database servers, application servers, sensitive servers like finance servers, etc. So you need to prioritize what has to be patched first, what contains sensitive information. So you have to get a list of computers that are very important and then patch it first, and then probably you can focus on end user PCs a little later, unless otherwise it's very sensitive. All right. So if there is going to be a critical service, something like email service, and if the email server is vulnerable, so you may have to provide alternate arrangements to, continue with the service, make use of the service continuously, reroute the critical services if there is any issue with the service computer. All right. So once that is done, we may have to initiate a root cause analysis. All right, that is very, very important. So generally when an issue is reported, the first step that we do is go to the knowledge base. I'm pretty sure that most of us are not maintaining a very good knowledge base. All right, so because it is a separate effort, we may have to dedicate an engineer or an author to come up with knowledge base articles and enrich the knowledge base, and that is never going to happen, right? So the first step we go is to search for knowledge base articles, and if it is not there, we'll go to the internet to do some research on how to fix the issue. And once you find an issue resolution, you can apply it. But sometimes there won't be any resolution available even on the internet, and that is where we may have to initiate a root cause analysis to figure out what is going wrong, pinpoint the root cause, check with various people like the manufacturers about solutions available, already available solution, if there are patches available. And if there is no solution available, you may have to find out your own steps. So root cause analysis will help you to come up with new solution articles and enrich your knowledge base continuously. All right. And finally, we have done all the corrective measures, and we shouldn't stop there. We may also have to implement a mechanism to prevent such incidents in the future. All right, so we should never let the same flame burn us twice. All right, so we should set up preventive measures to avoid the situation in future. All right, so without any delays, now that I know how you use your service desk and how the edition of service desk Plus that you are using, I'm going to give you a demonstration of the enterprise edition of service desk Plus and the features available in it, with which you can manage a critical situation. All right, so it is also available in the professional and standard edition. So some features are going to be a little different in the enterprise, but the rest of it are going to be the same. All right, let me also give you the difference in the end. For this demonstration, I'm using the enterprise edition of the cloud version of Service Desk Plus. Okay, so a critical issues being reported. So technicians will be spending a lot of time in the request list view. So this is where everything happens for a technician. All right, all the issues are reported in here. You've got a filter to see the open request, all the other request types, and you can create even a custom filter as per your requirements. So with this view, I can now get all the tickets that are reported, to the IT team. So when there is a critical issue reported and you know that it's critical, the first step that we have to do is know the availability of my engineers and broadcast a message to them. All right, we have to notify the internal teams as soon as possible and ask them to be on standby to work on this particular issue. So how do we do that? How do we establish a smooth communication with my internal teams? How do I alert them about this critical issue? All right, that is where I'm going to show you three important features in ServiceDesk Plus. So you go to the quick actions. So this Thunderbolt icon here is the quick actions menu. Click on it. Once you do that, you've got three options here. First one is tech availability chart. When you click on tech availability chart, you will get to know who are all available or present in office today. All right, so some of us might have marked leave, some of us are not available in the office. Everything is seen from the tech availability chart. So the next feature is how many technicians are logged into ServiceDesk Plus at this point in time. So that is also equally important. So you should know how many of them are in break and how many of them are available already in the application. To see that, click on logged in technician. At this point of time, there is only one technician available in this application. So if you've got a bunch of technicians who are logged into the portal, you can see that from logged in technicians list. Once you know the availability of your engineers, you now know who are all available today in the office and who all are logged into the application. The next step to do is send out a message to them. To do that, once again, go to quick actions and click on broadcast message. All right, once you're there, you've got two options. You can send a message to all technicians so that once they are back from their break, when they log into the application, this message will be shown there on their screens. All right, otherwise you can send a message only to the logged in technicians. So in this case, I'm going to go with all technicians. I'm going to say Mayday, standby. All right, and click on send. Once that is done, all your engineers will be made aware of the situation that is happening right now. So when you have a critical situation, this is how you can establish communication with all your technicians. So the next step is to announce this outage to the end users. So you may have to communicate to the business about this particular outage. And how do you do that? Go to the announcement section. So that is where I can create new announcements. All right. So click on new announcement. So I can provide a title, description, scheduled, start and end times. So that denotes the validity of the announcement, after which it will automatically removed from the system. All right. And also I can choose the announcement type. All right, set the priority. And sometimes the announcement that we make here will be available only in the self-service portal. And most of the times users might not log into the application. So to handle that situation, you can also email the users. So you can provide a distribution list email address, and then you can shoot this announcement via email to all your users. So we are putting up an announcement in the self-service portal, and also we are sending out an email to all the users in your organization. That way we have established communication with the end users as well. So we now have let them know about this known outage, and we are working on that. All right, so these are the first two things that we have to do. Once it's done, the next thing that we have to do is allocate resources to work on the incoming request. All right, so the first step is to take care of all the duplicate issues reported by the users. So sometimes our users will get a little impatient about this issue, and they'll send out multiple emails inside ServiceDesk Plus. So in order to handle that situation, for example, this particular case, Larry has sent out two emails, all right, about the same issue. What we have to do is housekeep them and convert them into one request, right? So because it's not very efficient to allocate both these requests to different engineers, that'll be a waste of human resource and time. So first we have to merge it, so that way we can combine those two into one request. So the older one will become a conversation for an existing request. All right, so this is the first housekeeping step that we have to take in order to handle the incoming volume. All right, the next step is to that is one more problem. Now, let us discuss this situation. So you've got multiple tickets reported by different users about the same issue. So one application is down because of this vulnerability, and so we have taken it down, and multiple users are reporting the same issue to service desk. So how do we address that situation? So is it even efficient to allocate the tickets to multiple engineers at the same time and ask them to work on it? Not really. It is not very efficient. So the next step that we have to do is link the requests. All right, if it is of the same issue, right? So this are same issues. So once it shows the similar issues reported by different users, the next step I have to do is click on link. All right, I can say it is the same issue. All right, click on confirm, and all these requests will be linked to each other. All right, now let us open the first one. And then if I go here, it shows that this request is linked to the request number 222. That is going to be the parent request, and all the requests will be linked to the request 222. All right, so advantages of linking a request. So now we have got 5 or 6 issues reported by different users for the same issue type. So in that case, I can allocate the parent linked request to one of my senior engineers and ask him to work on it, find out a solution. And until then, the other engineers will be waiting for an update from the senior engineer. So how do the updates are being shared? Any note that we add in this request. So if you add a note, the note will be shared with the linked request owners. All right, so if you can go to actions and then add note, and the note will be shared with all the linked request owners. Second thing, once you find out a resolution, as soon as you add a resolution to the parent request, which is request number 222, automatically the resolution will be also shared with all the linked request owners. So that way we are asking a senior engineer to work on the issue and then share the resolution with the rest of the engineers, and they can take the issue down, based on his instructions. So effectively, we can manage the human resource, delegate the work to one crucial resource, and then get the issue taken care of. All right. So let us take a look at the details of the request. So in the details section, you'll find the properties of the request. You will find properties such as impact, urgency, priority, category, subcategory item, all the classification that is required to fix the nature or pinpoint the nature of this issue. So during the polls, I asked a question: how do you set the priority on the request? All right, most of us said that technicians or coordinators manually set the priority after reading through the email. Right, so that is a huge problem in this particular model. All right, so most of the times technicians will go by the form factor of the asset. So if it's a printer, it's always given a medium priority. If it is a server, it's always given high priority. If it's a desktop, it's always given normal priority. All right, so we don't go with the business usage of the asset or the situation under which the issue is happening. All right, a desktop issue which is happening while your vice president is going for a presentation, it's going to be a critical issue. So we need to know the situation under which the desktop has failed. A printer that fails in the airline industry on the boarding card issuing lane, it's going to be a critical situation. So we need to know under what situation the asset has failed. So the best thing to do is allow your end users to give the priority on the request. So do you all agree that we can allow our end users to set the priority on the request? That's not a wise thing to do. Because if you allow your end users to set the priority, every ticket is going to be of high priority that comes into IT. So there should be a way to indirectly collect the information, and that is where I'm going to pitch for a feature in ServiceDesk Plus. So let me open the setup page in a new tab. All right. So under customization, under help desk section, you'll find priority matrix. So this is a very important feature. By using this feature, we'll be able to collect the priority of a request indirectly from the end user. So instead of publishing the priority field to the end user, we are going to publish the impact field and the urgency field. Right? And I have created a very lean priority matrix that can be used in any environment. On the one axis, I've got the impact. All these are custom impact that I have created. So if a user has an issue, you can choose if it affects the user alone, if it affects a group of users, if it affects the entire department or the entire organization. So based on the issue, he can choose the appropriate impact. And in the urgency, I've got only two options: affects production, doesn't affect production. So based on this choice, the application can be configured to set the priority on the request. So this is what priority matrix can do. So it's completely customizable. This is just a demonstration of what it can do. So if your organization has more urgencies, more impacts, as per your requirements, you can configure the priority matrix and allow your end user to provide the impact and urgency. All right. So based on their inputs, priority will be automatically set on the ticket. All right. So this is the first step to collect the priority. All right. And how do we get the category, subcategory, and item? All right. So we may have to manually go choose the category, subcategory, and item, and there is one more way to automatically set it. All right. And that is using business rules. Go to automation. All right. And under automation, you have got incident business rules. So making use of business rules, you can now create a rule to identify the keywords in the subject or the description. And based on the keywords, we can automatically set the category. So it is a one-time manual activity wherein you have to create multiple business rules, but it will save a lot of time for your coordinators. All right. So your coordinators can save their time. So instead of classifying the request, they can focus on fixing issues. All right, to create a new business rule, click on new business rule, provide the rule name, also choose when it has to be executed. You've got an option to set it within operational hours. You can have a different business rule, and outside operational hour, you can have a different business rule. All right, and condition. So this is where we set the condition. All right, so based on the subject or description keywords, I can automatically assign this request, to a group or to a technician, or even set the category, subcategory, and item. All right. So this is what business rules will allow you to do. So that way we have automatically set the priority on the request as well as the category, subcategory, and item on the request. The next automation that we have to do is give a deadline to the technician. So we have to ask the technician to fix the issue within a stipulated amount of time. So and that can be done. So if you take a look at here, the due by date is not set. So we have to automatically set it. So the priority is critical, all right? That is identified based on the impact and urgency inputs. Now I may have to configure a service level agreement. All right. So service level agreements will allow us to set the deadlines for the engineer. So in my case, I can create a critical SLA. So since the priority is critical, I'm going to go with a critical SLA. All right. And also I can go with the criteria. So the criteria is going to be priority. So most of the times it will be priority is all right, critical. Then the issue has to be responded within 1 hour and resolved within 2 hours. All right, so you may have to initiate a response within 1 hour with the end user and then resolve the issue completely within 2 hours, or you can even go with like 30 minutes. So within 30 minutes, I have to send out a response, and then within 2 hours, I have to resolve the issue. And also I can enforce operational hours, irrespective of operational hours, I have to resolve the issue. Also, I can, enforce skipping holidays and weekends. So that way, a technician has to fix this issue irrespective of operational hours, holidays, and weekends. All right, so there is a third automation that we can do, and there is multiple level of escalations that we can perform. So escalations can trigger notifications as well as perform operations, like moving the request to a different group, assigning it to a different technician, upgrading the priority on the request, upgrading the level on the request. All that can be automated using service level agreements. All right, so let us go back. So now that we have sorted the request details, so we have collected the priority, we have collected the critical is category of the issue, and also we have set up a deadline on the issue. All right, the next thing is to distribute the request to technicians. All right, how can we distribute the request to technicians? So that is where I'm going to show you another feature. It's called Technician Auto Assign. All right, so coordinators are busy all the time distributing the tickets to different engineers, and if you'd like to give them a hand, all right, or otherwise completely take away the activity from them so that they can focus on something very important, you can make use of Technician Auto Assign. There is the other automation that I'd like to highlight here. So it can be enabled for incidents or incidents and service requests, both incidents and service requests. And the distribution of the request will happen using two models. One is round robin method, where it will equally distribute the ticket amongst your technicians, or otherwise load balancing methods, where it will check for the number of tickets owned by a technician at any given point in time. If it is very high, it will provide the tickets or distribute the tickets to other engineers. All right, so you can enforce this for all unassigned requests or otherwise all requests, and even you can create exclusion lists. So this is one more important automation I would like to share. So now you have categorized the request, and also you have distributed the request using Technician Auto Assign among your technicians using the round robin or load balancing methods. All right, so now uh, let me reiterate what are the things that we have done during a crisis situation. The first thing that we did was broadcast a message to all your technicians, alert them and ask them to be on standby. Then we assembled the team. Then we also announced our business users about this known outage. So once that is done, we did a little bit of housekeeping by linking and merging the tickets. Merging is to reconcile the duplicates, and then linking is to put together similar type of issues so that we can effectively make use of our human resource and also share the resolution with other engineers. So within a request, we saw how we can quickly set the priority on the request, set the category and subcategory and item automatically on the ticket, and also how we can automatically distribute the tickets to different engineers. So this will help us to work on the volume that is already there in the request. All right, this kind of automation can save a lot of time for your engineers to in a crisis situation when you have a huge volume in your queue. All right, so once that is done, the next step is to focus on resolving the issue. So when it comes to resolving issues, so we may have to delegate the work to different engineers to pinpoint the points of failures. So in our case, Specter Vulnerability, all right, so we have to study the assets that are already available in our environment. We may have to quickly take a look at the environment's bird's eye view of the architecture, and also we may have to find out the software information from various assets. All right, so this requires a lot of intensive work, and I would recommend it to be delegated to a problem request. All right, so once you don't know how to take it down, how to take the issue down, you don't have any solutions in your hand, so that is when a problem request can be created. All right, so to create a new problem, all you have to do is go to the right side pane where you see associate problems, click on search. So if you'd like to see if there is an open problem already available for the same issue, or a senior engineer has already reported a problem, you can click on search. So that will show you all the open problems. All right, so if you find an open problem already available there, you can just click on it and then associate your incidents to the problem. But if there is no problem already reported, then you can click on new to create a new problem right away from this incident. All right, so for this demonstration, I'm going to go with an existing problem, search a problem, and then click on, all right, and then click on associate. Now this incident is associated to a problem. So web pages won't load. That is a problem that has been created. Let us go to the problem management module and take a look at this particular problem. Okay, so in the problem request, it contains the problem details. All right, the services that are affected by the problem and assets that are involved in the problem should also be associated. So if you click on services, all the services that you have created under the service categories will be listed over here. So if you'd like to learn more about it, please watch our previous webinar. All right, on service catalog, we have explained about how to create services in ServiceDesk Plus. All right, let me go with this email. Click on save. Right now, a service has been associated to this problem. Right, and also you may have to associate all the assets that have that are involved in this problem. All right. So let me quickly show you an important feature, configuration management database, and how it can help handling a situation like this. All right, configuration management database stores all your configuration items. So a group of computers delivering a particular service are called as configurations. Not only computers, it extends to all assets, including human resources. So we have got a department, we have got finance server, we have got desktops, we have got email servers. All these are interconnected to each other to deliver some service. All right, so that is called as a configuration, and every item inside the configuration is called as a configuration item. So these item types are called as configuration item types. So if I want to take a look at a particular server, I can go into the server and then see its relationships. All right. So when I see that, I will get a fair idea about how the server is connected to another. And this kind of a map will help me understand the environment. All right, so you can continue to build a complete map of how the data flows from one asset to another and how the data is consumed by the users. So that kind of a map will help you to understand the impact that an issue has caused to the business. How many users will be affected when an issue crops in can be understood with configuration management database. So by quickly studying configuration management database, I can associate the assets that are involved, all right, in this particular case, and also I can associate, do a complete impact analysis. So that is the next step. So the analysis phase is the next step. So under the analysis phase, we have got three items. First one is the symptoms. So any symptoms that is observed during the occurrence of an issue. For example, you might have noticed logs going bad. So all the log information can be stored under the symptoms. All right, you may monitor shoot ups in monitors. So all that can be stored under symptoms. The next step is to do an impact analysis to find out how many users are affected, what is the cost to the company because of this particular issue. So that goes under the impact study, which will be done with the help of configuration management database. So when you effectively use CMDB, you'll be able to understand the impact an issue has caused to your business, and you can provide a right priority to the issue. All right. So if thousands of users are affected by an issue, you can quickly escalate the priority to critical from high, and then ask your technicians to focus on this particular issue first. So once you have the impact study done, symptoms are done, the next step is to check all the points of failures in your configuration. So for checking the points of failures, you may have to onboard a lot of engineers at once. So you may have to onboard your network engineers, you may have to onboard your desktop engineers, you may have to onboard your database engineers. All of them has to be brought in and delegated with work to check the various points of possible failures, and that can be done with tasks. So task is the work breakdown structure in ServiceDesk Plus. It's available for every module. So from incidents, you can initiate tasks. From problems, you can initiate tasks to check the points of failures. So to delegate the work, all you have to do is click on add task, and a form will be given. If you're going to delegate the work from an existing list of tasks, you can use the templates, or otherwise I can say check network, associate this task to a group. So if I want to associate to the network management group, all group users will be notified. Or otherwise, if I want to go with a specific user, I can choose the user's name, the technician's name, and then allocate the task. Likewise, I can add more and more tasks to my problem request and ask my technician to check various points of failures. So once I pinpoint the point of failure, pinpoint the root cause, then I can go back to the analysis section and then I can add the root cause here. All right, probably in our case, in the Specter Vulnerability case, it is a hardware flaw. So the root cause is all about the BIOS, the hardware, architecture is completely flawed. So in that case, the solutions, then comes the solution. So once you narrow down the root cause, the next step is checking if there is a workaround available or if there is a complete fix available. So if there are workarounds like multiple patches, upgrading the BIOS, upgrading the operating system, upgrading the browser, then it's a workaround. right? So in the Specter case, there was only workarounds available, and to deploy the workaround, we need to have all the data in our hand ready, for which I may have to dig my asset repository once again. So that is where asset management module is going to work in tandem with ITSM, the incident management module. All right. So here in the asset management module, I can see how many servers I have, how many workstations I have. All that information is available, and also information about software. All right. I can go to the scanned software section. That will give me the list of all the software available in my environment, and also the number of installations available. So if I want to quickly check for Windows operating system, I can search. All right, that will show me the Windows operating systems, number of installations, and if I click on the installation, it will show me even the number of machines and where it is there, and I can schedule my upgrade activity accordingly. I can pinpoint all the critical servers. All right, so I can even create a group for critical servers. Okay, so here I have, this is a wonderful filter that I have created. So if I want to see all the Intel processor machines, I can click on Intel processor. It will list all my Intel processor machines. To create a new group, all you have to do is go to the group section, click on new group. All right, so it can be a static or dynamic group. In my case, it's going to be dynamic. Choose the criteria, and if I want to see only the operating systems, so I'm going to call it as Windows machines. Save it. So I quickly get a list of all my Windows machines. All right. Even I can go with browsers. I can create a group of machines which contains Chrome IE and Firefox browsers. I can view the version of the browsers and schedule my upgrade activity accordingly. So I can patch my machines. I can patch I can patch all the Intel processor machines if I get an update from Intel. All right. I can patch all my AMD machines when I get an update from AMD. All right. Likewise, I can also patch my operating systems when I get updates from Linux and Windows. All right. And finally, I can also upgrade all my browsers accordingly. All right. So these are all the resolution or workaround that we have to do. All right. So you can add a resolution. So in this case, I'm going to go with a test. And also this resolution can be updated in your solutions repository, solution knowledge base. All right. So that is how problem management can tightly work with knowledge base. Right. So with problem management, you'll be able to quick cook new solution and enrich your knowledge base continuously. All right. So this particular problem has two associated incidents. All right. So once you find out the resolution, it can be added. And the final thing that we have to do is close the problem directly from here. When I click on close, I get four options. Right. The first option is to close all associated incidents. So in this case, in Specter Vulnerability case, the patches will be rolled out automatically. So you can use a deployment utility to upgrade your operating systems, upgrade the browser, etc. So the resolution is already given to the end users. So we can choose to close all the associated incidents at once. If you have hundreds of incidents associated to a problem, by doing this, you're closing all the 100 problems at once. All right. The second option is to email all requesters affected by this problem. All right. So once you have provided the resolution, you can also choose to email the requesters affected by this problem to let them know that it is taken care of. All right. The third option is to email technicians working on incidents and associated with this problem. So in case of a BIOS upgrade, so we may have to ask the technicians to do it manually. All right. So if that is the case, I can shoot a message to all the technicians of the associated incidents, let them know about the steps that they have to follow to fix this issue, and then ask them to perform it manually. All right. And the final option is copy the problem, solution, and workaround to all associated incidents. So we can also choose to copy the solution that we have found to all the associated incidents. With these four options, we can automatically perform the closure and avoid backlogs or orphaned entries resting in the queue. All right. So at times you would have already taken care of all the issues, but since there was a huge volume of tickets, it is still left unattended in the queue, and that issue can be addressed from here. All right, so this is a huge list of features that can help you resolve an incident like Specter vulnerability, where you have to effectively use configuration management database, you have to effectively use hardware asset management and software asset management, for which you need to first build a very good hardware asset management repository. And the next session, the session 3 of the masterclass is going to focus on hardware assets alone. So we'll be discussing a lot about how you can build your asset repository, right? So these are all the features that can help you with identifying or managing the situation. The next set of features I'm going to speak about are how you can measure and improvise your management of incidents. All right, so the first feature that I'd like to show is dashboards. So you have to effectively use the dashboards. So it will give you a quick glimpse of how your help desk is performing. All the key performance indicators are created as reports here, and the reports are available in the dashboard. All right, I can dig deep into it by clicking into it. Okay, and then I can start working on it. So that way I can measure and improvise. The next way is to run reports. So you can go to the report section, and you've got a huge list of reports available for incidents. All right, so these are reports that are widely used by various organizations to measure the incident management performance. So if you'd like to know the SLA violation of incidents by category, I can quickly run a report. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't have the data in this test installation. So let me do this. Yep. So something like this, a quick report can be generated. All right. So if you're not okay with the available reports, you can choose to run a custom report, right, where you can build a report from the scratch. I can provide a title for the report. All right, choose the type of the report. In my case, it's going to be a simple table report. The module, my case, it's going to be incident requests. Proceed to the report wizard. I can choose the available column, the required columns from the available columns. All right, and under the filters, you've got a date filter and also an advanced filter if you'd like to run report by the category of the issues or by the technician who is assigned with the ticket. And then also you can choose to create graphs. All right, let me do this. Category and percentage. So click on run report, and that will generate a report from your existing data. All right, I'm going to save this report to show you one more important feature. So I'm going to save this under my reports. Now let us go back to the report section. All right, so I've got a folder called my reports. Under my reports, I've got the report that I created. I'm going to run it again, and when I run it again, now this report can be quickly scheduled to be run on a frequency, and also I can mail this report to my managers if it is needed. All right, so you've got drill down analysis for further filtering the report. All right, and you have got an option to query the report, schedule reports, and all these are options available to customize and build your own reports to measure and improvise your service desk's performance. So with that, I'd like to share some best practices with you guys. So business rules, make effective use of business rules to automatically route the request to the right support group and also set up the category, subcategory, and item on the tickets. Knowledge base, SLA notification, and templates. Make use of the knowledge base to quickly resolve resolve the issue. And SLAs will help you to set a deadline, and you can enforce the deadlines on your technicians so that they can stick to the agreed time limits. Right, and also make use of templates. So create incident templates, reply templates, resolution templates. All these templates will help your technicians to quickly work on the incident. Make use of self-service portal. All right, ask your end users to adapt self-service portal usage. So instead of conventional phone calls and emails, if they make use of self-service portal, you can bring in control with the volume of requests that are being reported. Right, notification rules and reply templates. So notification rules and reply templates will help you to create timely notifications and automatic closure right? With problems, you can automatically close all the associated incidents which are belonging to the same category. And also you can copy the resolution to all the associated incidents, notify end users, notify technicians, and then with a click of a mouse, you can close hundreds of tickets in bulk. All right, that will help you to reduce the backlogs. And once again, dashboards and reports will help you understand the current performance of your IT team. So with that known, you can take improvisation actions. So continuous improvisation can be done. All right, some of the reports that you can run to measure the team performance, compliance, quality, and value are listed here. So I'm going to share this deck with you all, so you can take a look at these reports and make use of these reports to improvise these KPIs. The next session is on hardware asset management, bringing all your assets under one roof. It's going to be on the 13th of June for the cloud version of ServiceDesk Plus, and for the on-premises, it's on the 12th of June. And all our sessions will be happening on 4 time zones: 3 p.m. AEST, 11 a.m. BST, CDT, and PDT. All right, and with that, we have come to the end of this presentation. Thank you so much, guys, for being very patient and listening to the 1 hour session. If you've got any further questions or feedback, please feel free to shoot an email to masterclass@servicedeskplus.com. Thank you and have a good one. Cheers.